Welcome to DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, so let's get started.
All right, welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and today we have special guest Alfonzo Gonzalez. Alfonso, how are you?
Good. I'm glad to be here, Chris.
I'm glad to have you, man. As funny as I was at I think it was a running event or whatever, and I was picking up my shirt, and then I saw you at this event, and I thought, hey, I'm going to talk to this guy because I've heard a lot about you. You run Pegasus, or at least you have a group called Pegasus, and a lot of fast runners and things like that. So wanted to say hey and talk to you more today. How about that?
Yeah. No, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Tell me a little bit about you. Like you started running, you're a runner. Tell me about yourself a little bit.
I want to say I started running probably in 2009. It's when I actually started. One of my coworkers, she was a runner. She asked, hey, let's go out for a run. Hey, let's do a running group. And she brought me out to one of the Luke's Locker social runs that used to start at the Oaklawn location before they moved to the SMU location. That was my first social run. It didn't go well. I think I was struggling, of course.
Of course.
Especially for a 6 mile route that I wasn't expecting such a long run. For me, that was a long run.
What was the most you did before that?
Maybe three,
Okay.
maybe 3 or 4, just about 3 or 4. That was I started to enjoy it. And I just kept going. And then they started meeting up during the week, and I just kept at it and just tried to get a little bit better, more endurance, stamina, being able to just finish the social run without huffing and puffing. So that was good.
Did you start running for a reason? Or you just out of shape, or what was the?
No, just got invited to come run, and I just figured, hey, let's do this. During high school, I played tennis, football, boxing throughout school, but I figured, hey,
I think boxing is a really good transition into running because a lot of endurance you have to.
yes, I think that's the only thing that helped me out finish those 6 miles, to be honest.
I always thought soccer players, and now that you brought it
Yes.
up, boxers would be really good runners.
Yeah, soccer players for sure. I play a little bit of soccer. Those guys can run. They can do circles.
Yeah, they're running like 5 miles every time they get out there to either practice, get in the game, those things. Easily
and
sprinting sometimes.
Sprinting, I want to say sprinting for sure. I feel like they're sprinting the entire time.
You're well known around the DFW area from your group is called Pegasus. Is that right?
Yes, Train Pegasus. A lot of people call it Pegasus, but yes.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about you guys just from other runners that have been on this podcast. And so I was very intrigued to hear more about what you guys are doing. So you started running in time. Were you part of Pegasus, or was it different? And how did all that?
No, that was back then. We were just running with the Luke's Lager program, just trying to run my first marathon that year. So we were learning. Pegasus came around probably in 2019. But the way it got started was I was coaching a few runners. I was running with other running clubs, mostly at Nomad at the time. But they're a lot faster group, so some of the runners weren't going to be able to stay with us at that pace. So they were all spread out, and then they figured, hey, why don't we create a group and some of your athletes can just run together since you train us all. That's how it got started. We started with Strava, and then they were thinking of names to call it. I went from like Alfonso Train to Train Pegasus. I didn't want to have my name involved. We did have some singlets that did have them, maybe first batch, but it was like more to test the singlets. But then we changed it to Train Pegasus. I just didn't want to have my name attached because I wanted it to be more of a community, not just my athletes, where people, because that's the way I've always run, was with multiple groups, cross training from other groups just coming in. A while back, I think when I first started trying to get faster, I was running with Dallas Running Project at the time. And that's where I met Nick Polito, Steve Pifner, Jason Trevino, Andrew Devereaux, Logan.
I've heard of all those people, yeah.
Dan, Jen Frankman, and Don Gronigal. That's where I met that group there, DRP. For short.
So you started Train Pegasus because you were coaching athletes at first, and then you were like, I don't want to call it funds or whatever.
Yes.
So you came up with the name, and then you started inviting other people that are not necessarily training with you per se, or as
exactly.
One of you're not coaching. Okay. Now, how'd you get into coaching? Like before all that, when did you start that, and then what said, hey, I should be a coach?
That wasn't something I even considered. During the Luke's Lockers, when we had marathon training, we had a sprint to 5K. I started coaching for Luke's Locker during that time. And I call it volunteer coach. But we had our groups. So I was there for maybe 3 or 4 years of doing that. Then I left Luke's to I wanted to set a PR to where I could get into Boston, because through the program, I was able to qualify, but not enough cushion time to get into Boston. So I wanted to run with the Dallas Running Project. Since
Yeah.
they were a fast group, I wanted to start running with them on the weekends just to get faster and learn from those guys who were already faster than me.
It's one way to do it, right? Like,
yeah,
just start running with faster people.
just chase people. That's all it was. It was chasing for a couple of years.
Inspire you a little bit and focus. I like it.
Yes, and then a couple of the three of the girls that I was coaching during the 5K half marathon training, spring training, they had reached out since they were in my group and I was their coach during that time. They reached out if I would coach them, and I'm like, sure. They wanted to go to Boston. They wanted to be Boston qualifiers. So they were running about 4 hours at the time. We got them to 5 minutes over their Boston qualifier. That's how the referrals started coming in after they qualified for Boston. A lot of people were like, how'd you do it? Who's coaching you? It's always been
something you pursued, though? Just like, hey, here's this dude that really helped me get to Boston. You should talk to him.
Yeah, that's how it started. It didn't happen overnight, just over the years started happening. I do a lot of pacing. So anytime I get a chance to pace, I've met a lot of people that way too, where they ask, like, do you coach? I'm like, yes, I do. And they'll reach out to me through
That's
Instagram.
cool.
But yeah, I didn't think of what Pegasus is today or the amount of athletes I coach today. That wasn't something I pursued. It just happened by referral.
And I assume you have a full-time job, right? Like besides.
I do. But coaching is like a full-time job as well.
Yeah.
It is a full-time job, I feel like.
Of course. What do you do for a living? Just out of curiosity.
I've been working for AT&T for probably 20 plus years.
Okay.
20 plus years.
What do you do for them?
I'm an account manager. So I'm in the Connected Communities department. Right now I'm over Central Dallas. Pretty much if you have a contract with AT&T or single home or an apartment, I'm the one that keeps the relationship with the ownership and the leasing staff.
Okay. Cool. It's funny because I always wondered, like, if, as a running coach, that's got to be like, yes, it's a full-time job for you as well, but can you ever stop doing your job, like your full-time job, is that something that at some point you think about, or is it just, I'll just keep doing it on the side?
That is something I probably would want to, when the time's right, I think that's something I would probably want to do full-time.
Okay.
When the time comes, that would be something, because I get a lot of people that want more one-on-one training, and that's something I can't do with a full-time job. I'm like, I can't train an amount of people throughout the day and help them. I just give them that personal training.
How many people do you train today?
Like actively right now, I would say about 75, but I want to say I've coached probably over 200. I do my best to force them to take a break after their marathons, because a lot of them, they want to continue the training, but also
so you can have a break.
Yeah, so exactly, that's the truth behind it. So I can have a break. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know you had that many. I was thinking you were going to say 20 or 30. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I have a few in Canada, Mexico, and throughout the States as well.
What do you do? Just like virtual stuff, or
virtual.
what does your training look like? What is it?
It's mostly virtual. I think it's more virtual. There's a few people that I consider tier 2, where I do bi-weekly check-ins and go over their weekly runs, their workouts, try to focus on where I can help them get a little bit better or where they're struggling, try to pinpoint it. So,
is it mostly marathon training, or do you do halves, or what's
from 1 mile to the full marathon? A few ultra, a few trail runners. I've trained a few high schoolers too. That parents have just found me that just want to get their kids to break that 5-minute mark for college purposes.
I feel like you don't really need marketing. It just comes now to like,
yes,
you probably have too many people coming, right?
No, yes, yeah. I get probably maybe anywhere from 2 to 5 referrals per weekly. I just make sure I'm the right fit for them too. I also have learned to pass on other runners to other coaches too, just depending what they're looking for.
So how long have you been doing this? Since 2019, 18?
Yeah, I want to say 2019. Yes, 2019.
It just starts falling in. People really seem to like you. What's your specialty? Like, why are people just flocking over to you? I love it.
Yeah, I like to ask that question too. That's my one number question. Like, how'd you hear about me? It's always a referral. I want to say my runners have all been 100% a referral. They like me keeping it simple. A lot of the people that just want to go to Boston, want to set PRs, they just like simple.
So what does your training program look like? I
believe in the 20-80 rule, 80% easy, 20% hard. So I'm a big believer in that style. So I think recovery is very important. I think a lot of people get shocked when they see me running 11-minute miles to 12, sometimes 10:30.
Really?
But I spent a lot of time doing that. And I know we were talking about Jose Lopez
That's right.
on Saturday, and yeah, he always reminds you of that person, because he's a great runner, super fast, but you never really see him do much speed work.
And I get to run with him. I run with him now every Sunday, him and his group of folks. And one of the things he told me was, look, I'm in this sport now for longevity. And he goes, and the way I think he does it is he'll run a lot of slow miles. He's running 60 a lot. So he's running 60 or 70 miles a week whenever he's, maybe sometimes more, whenever he's training for a marathon. So he'll be at Cowtown this weekend. I don't know if this podcast will come out by then, but he's going to run the Cowtown. And I think for him, speed work comes in more races. So he'll do some 5Ks, 10Ks, and he'll get with Plano and run with them. He'll run DRC races. I think that's where seems like that's where he gets his speed. But he also he'll do road, but he'll go to this one area that has woods and stuff like that, some trail-like stuff, not hardcore, but he'll run a ton of miles on at Norbuck Park. And so he gets a little bit of different types of training.
Terrain. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely real good to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me, let's go back to your journey. So, super interesting that all these people like love you as a coach. And I've heard that. So that's why I wanted to have you on. I was like, who's this Alfonso guy? But you go back and you started training for, let's say, a marathon. How did that go? And then tell me where you are today, like from a marathon standpoint.
Marathon.
Is that your race? I don't know. Do you like halves, fulls?
I like the marathon. Marathon. I really can't say that I put more effort now, more in coaching my runners. But not only that, but we have Monday through Sunday runs, weekly runs
every day.
And then
you go to these runs every day?
Yes, except when it's cold. I have perfect attendance when it's 100 degrees. But once we start getting into 30, people have learned over the years that my perfect attendance goes down, my mileage goes down. But we do get a lot of, I can show up for a tempo run where I plan to run with people. But then if someone new comes to the run, I will stay back.
Okay.
And make sure that they don't get lost. I want them to feel welcome. So that's more important to me. The run community comes first. So I will put my workout to the side and run with somebody so they feel comfortable. But if they have someone... But if they have somebody they can run with, that's great. But if not, then I'll sit back and I always encourage them to come back. But that's what we have we have Monday. We have the Monday, the Friday, and the Wednesday run and the Sunday run where it's 4 miles, sometimes 3. They're starting to pick up a lot. Those are starting to be big attendee days now.
Where do you meet?
We meet here at Starbucks. At Starbucks on Knox Street.
On where?
At Knox Street.
Okay, got it.
And then on Wednesdays, we join the Luke's Run at 6 a.m. So that's a good spot to go to as well.
All right, let's go back to your journey, buddy. I want to hear about your marathon run when you first started running marathons and stuff.
I first started running marathons. Of course, Dallas was my first marathon, and I want to say that was 2009 or 2010. I want to say I have to go look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's 9. That was my first marathon. It was probably barely right under 4 hours. I want to say probably right under 4 hours.
That's normal.
It was rough. I didn't want to run again. To be honest, it took me.
Still like me.
Yeah, I remember sitting after I finished a set against at this time it was at the American Airlines Centers when it started. So I remember just sitting putting my back sitting down against the building, and it took me a long time before I even decided to stand. So that was my first marathon, and I figured it would be my last as well. But then the person that got me into running, Randy Burnett, she said, let's go do another one. And I think after that, I want to say it was probably the Rock and Roll New Orleans run was probably my second one, or it might have been Austin. I have to go back and look, but they didn't go as good as either.
Really?
I think
another bad marathon. The first one wasn't bad. It was just your first, and then
I think the second one or third one was I struggled even more. Yeah, more. Yeah. It was more than the first.
I think that's good. If you look back at that, you kind of understand what it's like to struggle. And then for your runners that you talk to, you have some compassion for them. It's not like all of a sudden you just was this amazing marathon runner when you first started.
No, not at all. And I still have, once a year, I try to run at least a good marathon. I think a lot of people notice that I don't get bummed if I don't do well. I give it a shot. I don't try to go, hey, I don't go out there trying to look for another race. There's always next year. I'll take the L. And we'll work on next year. It wasn't my season. It wasn't my year. I enjoy running.
You just do one a year? Or?
No, I do a lot of pacing, but I put effort into I try to put one race per year where I just put effort. I'm going to try Boston. It's going to be my effort run this year. So it's going to be a tough one. I had Berlin later on this year as well, but I think that's going to be more about the star. But yeah, no.
Do you have all 7? Are you trying to get 6, 7 stars, or is it?
Yeah, you know what? That's the plan. I ran New York. I got into New York this last year. I ran New York for the first time. So I got that one. And then Berlin had a qualifying time, so I had a good qualifier. So I got into that. My next one, after Berlin, I'm going to try to, if I can get into London, and then Tokyo would be the next two.
Two tough ones.
Yeah, the two tough ones. Yeah, so those are, we'll see what
I
happens.
mean, there's Australia now.
Yeah, Sydney too. Yeah, I wish I would have took their offer then, but it wasn't part of the major, so I wasn't sure if it counted during that time. Of course, through ABBA majors, you get their kind, and they'll send you, as long as you're in the top age group, they'll send you some, at least a guarantee entry.
What's your best marathon?
I would say CIM 240.
Okay. 240. Is that kind of where you are today? Is that
yeah,
range,
240. I think my range is probably the last two that I've offered was 240, 242. Consistent 245 or 40, anywhere from 243 to 245 is usually my consistent pace.
Yeah, are you masters yet or no?
Oh yeah, masters. I'm 45, so definitely above masters. I ran Houston this year. I paced a couple of my runners, so they wanted to break sub 250. So that was a marathon I recently ran before New York.
That's pretty impressive. 250.
Yeah.
Wow. I talked to what's his name? He won the Masters Houston. I forgot his name. But he'll be on the podcast coming up. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So you've got runners that are running 250 and you actually pace them.
Yeah, pace them. They did anywhere from 248 and above. I've had a few that go under 245. I prefer to pace my runners if I can, as long as I'm in shape.
I love that. You were telling me before we got on, you're running Cowtown and you're pacing in 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah, I paced probably Cowtown the last maybe 4 or 5 years in a row.
It's a great race.
I'm probably gonna get Legacy the way I keep going there, hopefully. But
what is Legacy? What's that?
I think it's after you run Cowtown, either the half or the full 10 times.
Okay.
I think they give you Legacy.
Do they keep track? Because I know I've run that thing at least 10 times. They asked me. I was like, I don't know. I know I've run it like 9 or 10. I don't know.
Yeah, I know they have a legacy section. I think they might confirm through there. I haven't looked because I know I've only run 6 total.
Okay.
With half. But that's a fun race I've been doing. Now it's become tradition to be a pacer there. My plan was just to do the half. When I reached out, I was like, hey, I want to do the half. Okay, great. And then there hasn't been many pacers this year. So, yeah, okay, I'll take one for the team. And 3 hours it is. I think last year was 3:05. But right now we're just looking for pacers because right now I think there's one 255. Then on the 3 hours, there's no 3:05, there's no 3:10, there's no 3:15, and then the next one's 3:20, which is Ray. I think you got Paul Wells as the 255, from what I see.
And those are really fast, so I'm sure those are really hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Logan Sharman's going to run a little bit with me too. I'll have his company for a while.
Well, that's good.
So it'll be good to have him.
Have you run with him before?
Yeah, no, absolutely. He got me, I think Houston 2020, we ran with the B standard, the Olympic B standard for the women. So he was the official pacer for 245 at Houston.
Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I remember him just saying, hey, why don't you help me? So it's like, sure. So I hopped on that train with him, and that was a good experience to run with him. And
he's a legend here in Dallas.
Yeah. Actually, I think my first 5K I ever won, he was in the race and he let me win right before we crossed the line.
He let you win.
He let me win. He turned back around and went to go help some other runners. But yeah, he's a great guy.
Do you think he really let you win?
No, he let me win.
Wow.
He let me win. He said, go ahead. I'm going to go back. So I was like, okay.
That is nice. I can't believe it.
Yeah. He just having short. It's yours to go. I'm gonna go. He started running backwards, looking for a friend. He said, "I'm just gonna go look for a friend. You just keep going." So
okay, wow,
yeah, super nice guy.
I mean, your 5K's got to be pretty fast, I assume.
It's right in there. I have to go back look, but I think it's right at 17 or right under 6. Right under 17.
Yeah.
I haven't run 5Ks. I've probably only run maybe 3 5Ks for in the last 6 years or so, maybe 7.
But yeah. 5Ks are tough, man. I don't know if you think that same thing, but I feel
I do.
You know, at least a half marathon or marathon, you can get in a groove and things like that. 5K just feels like a sprint all the way till the end.
Oh, and the 1 mile's that's even something else.
I'm sure the 1 miles are all.
It feels like I ran a half or a marathon. That's the way I feel. It's something else.
There was a race this last weekend called Form Follows Fitness, and I think the first place person won or got 1650s. I forget exactly in the second, 1701. There's some pretty fast people here.
No, absolutely. I definitely agree. I think we're just getting even more faster. I feel like every time I turn the corner, there's someone new and someone running faster, setting PRs.
It's like the guy that won Dallas this year is his first marathon.
Yeah.
And his first, look, he's He was an elite athlete, went to college, just got out of college. He said he was running, his name's Travis, but he was running 60 or 70 miles anyways, just for 5Ks and 4 miles. And he goes, what's next? Well, let me try the marathon, and trained for that and won it.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's talent as well, but yeah, he puts in the work on top of that. So amazing.
You have to put the work in to run that fast, but it's not like that was new to him, right? These college athletes know what it's like to put in the work. They just don't know what's next after college.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
they
no.
just
Yeah. Yeah, we've had several people throughout the week or some of our runs that'll come by and they just they got that background from college and they're so fast.
Yeah. How many people are in the Pegasus group? Like, how many people show up kind of during the week?
Mondays and Fridays is starting to get to where it's anywhere from 20 to 30 now. Wednesdays, it's a mixed group there. I think you can get 60 to 80 there sometimes on Luke's run. But on Saturdays, I would say, I think a lot of people come for Tuesday, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. We can get anywhere from 30 to 40 more when people like if the co-op's there or if the completely slots are there.
Yeah.
If racetrack club comes, even the Lake Highlands track club, sometimes we're all mixed in. We've all run together in the past, so it just varies on who comes. But we did get a good turnout overall.
You seem to have, so one of the things I always think about is the community of runners. And just if you look at Dallas, Fort Worth area, it's huge. There's so many groups out there. And I love seeing that. And what you guys are doing is really cool. As you think of the love of running, the love of the community, obviously you have some passion for that. Can we talk about that?
No, it's just something I've always enjoyed. I think not only that, but I think it's a good stress. I feel leaving work at home and just being stress free. That's one of my many things one of maybe 3 things that I like to do where I just enjoy it, and then helping others that want to get to a level where I used to be at, where they're just starting. Getting them there, getting them to that 1 mile, getting them to the 2nd mile, the 3rd mile. As long as they keep coming, it's just something about it that I've always enjoyed. It's just peaceful and relaxing. I enjoy it.
I love how you've done it long term, right? You've just not stopped, right? Because it's hard because you have a full-time job and I'm sure you have obligations at the house and things like that. And then just to consistently bring in people, you're coaching people now, you've been doing that for a while. And then when you think of like just going there every week, 4 or 5 times a week, you're going to meet people to run and just keeping that community going. And you should be proud of what you've accomplished in the community. It's pretty amazing.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think it does. One thing too is every time I get someone new that's going to come for the first time, I make sure I'm there and make sure they feel welcome. So if they reach out, it's going to be their first time. I'm there.
What do they just send you? Are you guys just mostly on Instagram or what's the
Instagram? Yeah, it's Instagram, Strava. They usually send a DM or they'll send an email or they'll find the website. Yeah, we get a lot of emails for coaching or asking, can anybody come? People from Austin who hear about the group that run in the past, Oklahoma. Anytime they reach out, just try to find out what pace they are and try to put them with somebody that's going to be able to run with them. And if we don't have somebody at that pace, and then I'll refer them to another running group where they're going to benefit more as well. So it's also to make sure coordinate as well, put them with the right. If we're not the right fit, put them with the right fit, right group.
Yeah, when I was first talking to you, I thought Pegasus is just a really fast, or Train Pegasus is just a really fast group only. But it sounds like if you're running 10 or 11 minute miles at times, right? I think sounds like it's for most people at any level almost, right?
Yeah,
is that right?
No, yeah, it's just probably for anybody. But I do let them know that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays and Sundays are where it's going to be more laid back, more social, more 10:30. But Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, the people that come, they're there to clock in. That's what I say. They're clocking in. They're going to put the work.
They're serious.
They're serious. So yeah, we've gotten a lot because, like you said, that was the reputation we had in the beginning, where it's like we were just too fast. People didn't want to come run. And I think people started to see me run slow on certain days, which were those days that Monday and Friday and Wednesday and Sunday. And they're like, why don't you just have a Monday through Sunday group? Because we're always asking who you're running. And then more people just started to come on those days. Sometimes those days, most recently, now we're getting like 30 people that come on what used to be maybe 4 to 10 people on those days. Now we got brand new people, beginners that are feeling comfortable.
You're always going to get that, man. As long as you kind of continue on, the people just come and run. And you'll continue to, you know this, but
yes.
That's pretty cool. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, so yeah, it's great to see. I love the running community, and it always comes first.
Now, you run this, but is there somebody like also helping do some of the stuff, or do you have a partner in crime or anything like that? Or
I'm sorry, go back. You cut off there.
I don't know. Do you have a partner in crime that helps you do some of these things? Or
Yes, Joe Wolf. She does a lot of the event coordinating. She sets the Strava events. Before we start, she'll give a speech and make sure everybody has a partner as well. If not, I will if she's not there. She recently moved to Grapevine, but she still comes on the workout dates. So the clock-in days is what I call. So she helps me out on those days, and then I'll take on the other days, which I enjoy. Social runs, the 10:30, the 9:30s. So those are the days that I love.
yeah, because
So
you
she
can just
helps me
talk and
out.
hang out.
Yeah. So she definitely helps me a lot. I think you got to have more people, and I'm sure eventually as the group continues to grow, I'm sure somebody else will step up and take another role. Even when it comes to coaching as well, somebody will eventually come along. And I'm starting to see some of the groups take the group by. People are trying to be leaders and inviting other people, and they're making it their own group, which it's good to see. So most of the time I like to sit back and just let the group run it. But every now and then,
But you can't do everything. You got to show some leadership, but at the same time, how do you? Because it's a free group. I know you coach some of these people, but what can you do? It's not like anyone's getting paid. It's not a completely organized, like it's not like a DRC, right? Like that you have these pace groups and all these other things. You have to have people stepping up.
Yeah. It's great to see. It's great to see Pegasus take that life, starting to grow. So that's good.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything that, that I completely should have asked you that I just didn't ask, that you were like, man, you should have said this?
No,
I'm sure there's like 1,000 things.
Yeah, no. There's always things that come up. I think the marathon. I've done 33 marathons, I think, total.
Okay. I would keep going, so that's good.
Yeah, you just keep going. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it, and collabing with other groups as well whenever we get a chance. There's always that opportunity as well.
Alfonso, you're doing some great things. Train Pegasus and just your continued journey with not just running, but building up that running community. I love what you're doing. I think it's important. And you've got all kinds of different, it sounds like, people running with you, whether you're running at 9 or 10 minute paces all the way to 240, 250 marathon. That's pretty impressive. Or faster. Some of these people are running way faster.
I know, yeah. Some of them, they're definitely, I've noticed as soon as they get faster, sometimes when it comes to coaching, a lot of people will ask, especially new coaches that are coming aboard. I do have some that reach out and they want a little bit of feedback. How did you get started? Did you do marketing? Is this something I want to do? I'm not trying to take your runners. I'm not trying to compete with you. This is something I'm trying to grow. So that's one thing I do try to help as more coaches. You start to see more coaches here in the DFW area. I like to always let them know it doesn't come overnight. I've been doing this for a long time. So it's not like it happened right away. Just coach people. You're going to get referrals. You're going to have some athletes that leave you and go to another coach. Don't take it personal.
It's just business.
It's just business. It's just like me. I'm in the telecom communication. I'll have a good friend that's been with AT&T and then suddenly he wants to go to T-Mobile or Verizon. Can't get your feelings hurt. It's same here, and they're ready to move on to another level. I had a recent...
Luca moving on from the Mavs. Oh, it's just business.
Oh, man.
I'm still hurt from that, by the way.
Yeah, we're not recovered from that yet. Yeah, that's one thing I do try to let some of these new coaches that are coming aboard not to take it too personal. Because I had one reached out, and I guess one of his actually went to another coach, and he was a little bit bummed. Yeah, and I said, no, it's part of the game, and it happens. I've had runners that I've had for 5 years, and sometimes it's time to try something new, and they want to get a different coaching style, and that's totally fine. Vice versa, might not be the best fit for somebody as well. And
just like you said, sometimes maybe you were a good fit for 5 years, and then just they want to try something different. Wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. And I always tell my runners, hey, you're welcome to continue to come here. I don't want it to be weird or anything. I want what's best for you. I just come up here and just be a part of the community and share your wisdom with other runners that want to get to your level or just starting. I let them know where you came from.
I love that. Alfonso, this has been great, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
You bet. No, thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and please don't forget to rate and review us, and know that we do have a group called DFW Running Group of 10,000 plus runners that connect online. So go to the Facebook group, join if you'd like. And Alfonso, thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. You have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.